Well, Zach, here we are at scientists, employees being problem solvers and not having to guess and not having the data and not being able to get to the root cause. Is that right?
Pretty much. What the old approach was is to hire a great plant manager and for him to actually create a dream team around him, and that would be adequate to solve all the problems. The problem is that model's about 15 to 20 years old. The complexity and the problems are coming at us so fast that we really have to engage the intellect of our employees. The two things that I really like to talk to managers about is number one, do you have data? And a lot of times they'll say, sure, we have the data. And I'll follow that up with a question of what are you doing with the data? And secondly, are your employees and mechanics using that to solve problems? When I ask those questions, usually I get a blue screen and they begin to change the subject.
So you actually expect people to use data once they get it?
For us to engage the employees as problem solvers is the most rewarding thing that I do in my job. Tell you two very short stories. One was in North Carolina, working with a maintenance supervisor. We were trying to get him out of a reactive thinking into more, really a planned maintenance. And so we asked him, do you have any data? His response was, we don't have any data. So I said, you know what? Let's go get it right now. So we actually walked out of the shop floor. We worked with the onboard PC. We exported to a thumb drive, came back in. We got a pivot table, built some paretos, and within 30 minutes had isolated 8 sensors that were causing the majority of the downtime. And so I asked him, number one, how long did that take? Number two, how hard was that? And also begin to convert him to really being a lot more fact-based in his approach. The second one is really even more rewarding to me. I was in Louisiana, been working with a couple of employees for over a year, and I went back on site and they almost random and they said, you're never going to believe what happened. We found a way to do a changeover without ever removing the die. And just whenever you think about what they had done, there was no technicians, no engineers. It was a German-made $12 million asset, so no German engineers, and they just, out of sheer desire, had solved that problem just because we had taught them some of the principles.
So you actually had employees that became scientists and problem solvers on the spot.
And so really what we do differently and why TGG is unique is that whenever we begin to work with a company, we're going to usually lead with RCFA classes, root cause failure analysis. We're going to go ahead and bring the supervisors into that class. We're going to team them up behind the problems and have them begin to use the tools, get data, and more of a fact-based approach and actually solve the problems. So within about 3 months, you'll have 5, 10, or even 15 teams that are actively doing just this, creating scientists in your employees. The jolt to the organization from a learning standpoint is tremendous, a very, very rewarding thing of what we do.